Hello and welcome to our first 12 days of Christmas and our very first day. You can see that we have a project here to make, and that's going to happen every day at 11 o'clock for 12 days from the 1st of November right the way through. They will be saved onto YouTube all the time, so you can access them at all times. They will be using products that are old, that I'm sure you've got in your stash, that I'm sure that you'll be able to make something similar if you don't have the exact thing. But obviously there are also things that you can purchase to make these things that we're doing, and they are over on maximumcrafts.com, and they're on a special link. So they're on a special collection called 12 Days of Christmas, and if you see anything and you want anything, that will be where to go over to. So it's the 12 Days of Christmas collection over on maximumcrafts.com. So today I'm going to be showing you a really simple but classic card using a fair few die sets, but most of which I think you will probably have. And as you can see, it's really simple. It's the simple silver and white, and when just a little touch of sparkle. And if I bring this closer to the camera, you can see that that is on a beautiful holly sort of wreath there. So without further ado, let me show you which die sets we're going to be using today. So first and foremost, we're going to be using the John Next Door Holly Corner die, which is this one here, Holly Corner. It is from a long time ago, so you probably got it in your stash, but available if you need it. We've also got a Presscuts Happy Christmas. Now, we've had Merry Christmas, but this one is Happy Christmas, and I thought it's quite nice font to use as well. So those are our two dies for our decoration. And we're also going to be using a bit of a collection of our Presscut nesting dies to make our apertures and bits and pieces. So I have got the stitch dot in the rectangles, and also the stitch dot in the circles, and the plain in the circles as well. But you could use any combination for these things, or even just cut it straight and make a square out of it. So there's all sorts that you could be doing. So let us first of all make our aperture, and I will show you how I'm going to achieve that. So I'm going to need my rectangles first, and we're going to be making an A5 card. So I have my card base, that's already cut, and I've already cut out my silver mirror card layer, which is just 1/2 centimetre smaller all the way round. So that brings it to 14.3 centimetres by 20 centimetres. So I have to think about that. So that's all the way round. Then you can see me. But we'll turn it there because you don't want to see me. I'm then going to take a piece of white card because I want my layer now. So I've got a piece of ordinary white card, and I'm going to take my second die down. So not my largest in this set, but the second down. And I'm just going to tape that into position and run that through. And I think it gives a really nice pattern, this one, so that you've got that sort of not just a straight edge. I think it looks quite nice. As always, run your die through your machine the longest way that you can, giving the rollers chance to actually cut. And that's going to be our base card. Okay, just run that through. And then we're going to be taking our stitch dot in the circles to make ourselves an aperture. So having cut that out, just going to remove the waste, and then hopefully you'll be able to see that you've got a really pretty pattern just on that side there. So that gives it a nice pattern. Now I want my circle obviously to go in the centre, and the circle's going to have to be sort of thought about a bit, as we don't want it too large, but we want it large enough. And I think if we go for that one, it's just a little bit too big maybe. So I'm going to go for slightly smaller. So if we're counting it from the large, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We've got the 9th one in. I'm going to put it in as centrally as I possibly can from the 2 edges, which is about an inch, a centimetre and a half. And I'm going to do the same more or less from the top, because I want to leave enough room to put my sentiment down the bottom here. So I'm going to run that through. Just pop that in my smaller machine now. I can do smaller plates. I can do. Just run that through there. So this is going to give me my first aperture, but I also want to cut one out of my silver. So we'll do this one first, and that will give me my stitch surround again here. So it gives it a nice pattern. And then we want a little bit showing in between. So that's actually waist. So I'm going to then get my plain circles and find a circle that is fractionally smaller than this one here. Now that one is exactly the same size, so we want the next one down. Okay, so that gives it just that little bit of a border all the way round. Then I'm going to grab, and excuse what's shiny, I'm going to grab my already cut out silver piece, and I'm going to pop my white piece in place, and then just holding it, I will put my circle in between the already cut out circle and know that that's going to be in the right place. I'm carefully going to tape that down and then remove this piece and just press those tapes down. And then I can just run that over my machine, through my machine, and then I'll have that little silver border showing through on the other side. Whoops, crash bang wallop. So if we have a look, we'll then see again, that's waist, we don't need that piece. Pop that back. And we'll then see that we have got a nice little border piece there. We've got our silver all the way round, but we've also got a nice little silver border there. And if we bring in our card base, that's going to sit on there nicely as well. So we can pop that to one side just for the moment, and we can just cut out the other pieces that we want to do. So I've already used my holly corner die to cut out 2 pieces in white, just the same white card as we had as our aperture piece. And I'm going to then take my spare piece of silver, which I had from an A4 card, silver mirror card, and I'm going to cut another 2 out of that piece. And at the same time, cut that one through first, I'm going to cut one of the Happy Christmas in silver. So I'm just going to run that through first, and I'll show you the detail that this holly corner brings up, which is really lovely. As you can hear, I'm only having to pop it through my machine just the once, but the actual detail on there is really lovely. Gosh, almost shining back too much for you, but you can see all the debossing marks on there and everything. It's really very, very pretty. So cut out that, and I'm then going to cut out one more, and then I also use it to cut out my Happy Christmas. And again, I'm putting it through the machine so that that's that way round, so that it gives it more chance to run through. And just run that through. So it's 2 of the silver and 2 in white of the holly corner die. and then one from the sentiment. Let's put my sentiment back. I'm going to use that sentiment a fair bit this week because I find that it's a really, really nice one. So watch out for those. And I will try to incorporate various different ones as I go along so that we are using old stash that we have got or old stash that you can use, as well as the nice new things as well. So without to blind you too much, just going to take out these last little bits. And again, lots of detail in it. And you may have noticed, although it's so shiny you possibly couldn't notice, that there are also even little berries that are in the pattern here. And we're going to be making the most of those little berries. Now you can either use some little red beads or self-adhesive gems, that type of thing, if you've got them. Or I'm going to be using a 3D accents by Cosmic Shimmer because I like it and I think it goes really, really well. So let's just take out all these bits. Just when you thought you couldn't be more bored, you've got to watch me take all those bits out. But I think we're done. And I just see one there. And let me just scoop up all of these pieces quickly so that they are out of our way. And we can assemble our card already. Can you believe it? Just take our Happy Christmas as well. Again, really pretty, very effective. So these are joined, but you could, if you wish, unjoin them. You can just snip them along the two P's and then just make that into a long border if you wanted, so that you've got Happy Christmas in a different format, if you see what I mean. So they can be joined like this one is, or you can actually easily snip them here and here, and then just makes that into, you know, a long sentiment, which I think is super. So let us just pop our card together. So first of all, I'm going to attach my white aperture piece to my silver. So prepare to be blinded again. Just a bit of glue all around here. And also making sure that I've got it around the aperture, because we don't want that to be showing. And pop that directly over. And because we cut out our aperture having placed our card into position, we shouldn't have any trouble of getting that as to be a fairly even piece, which is nice. Turning that over and applying my 2mm foam tape to the back of my card. I'm using it on all sides. If you are going to put foam on, because we're making this into an aperture, please don't stinge. Please don't just put tiny little bits on it, because it really won't look as good, and you've gone to all that effort to make a super card. And if you just think, oh, I only put in some tiny little bits of foam, it just doesn't look so good. So please think about that one. So plenty of foam, and that is going to go directly onto my card front. So I'm going to take the backings off of here, and I'm just going to put some glue on the back as well. So don't forget, we're here every day for the next 12 days. Please leave your comments at the bottom. Please make sure that you subscribe. And also, don't forget, we have a fabulous prize draw. So for all orders placed on the section, on the 12 Days of Christmas section from the website, all the names will be drawn into a hat, and we will be drawing it on Sunday, the 14th of November, live, for someone to win a fabulous prize, which will be up on the Facebook page as well for you all to see. So I've just put my card front on there, giving that little depth here. And I'm simply then going to take my two silver pieces, and my silver pieces are going to go inside my aperture, okay, like this. So they are going to meet there, and I'm just doing it so that they are meeting, but they're not overlapping too much, if you see what I mean. I'm just going to put some little bits of glue onto there, and they will be sitting in my aperture. Oh, didn't want a bit there. So I'm popping that there, and I'm letting the leaves just sit on top of my aperture here so that it looks a little bit more realistic. And I'm then popping some glue onto the back of this one, and I'm turning that, and I'm going to sort of do a mirror image over to this side. Okay, and just press that down, giving it a chance to grab if we can. Okay, now then I'm going to bring my white ones in. Now with the white ones, I'm just going to, wherever there's a little leaf, I'm just going to give it a bit of a twist. So they've got some markings in the centre, and I'm just going to more or less go along those markings and just give them a little bit of a fold in half almost, so onto the holly leaves themselves. You can do these in different colours. These look fab in the greens as well. They all look fab, but just to give it a little bit of a difference. I'm then going to pop some glue again onto the back of each of the leaves. And this time when I place it down, I'm going to place it so that it's in the opposite direction. So we had them this time, we had it going that way and that way. Now I'm going to get them joining that way round. So I'm just going to place that over the top of my silver, and I'm just going to hold on because it will take a second or two for that to grab because we're going on to silver card. And I want to make sure that it does just grab. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with my other white piece. So there's a piece of holly, I'm just going to give it a bit of a fold so that it looks a little bit more, well, so it gives it dimension, a little bit of realism. Ooh, two little bits, we don't want those. And then again, turn it over. Take some glue and just dab that onto all of the backs of the leaves. Just the leaves, don't need to do the holly sprays, just the leaves. Turn that upside down and then join that on the bottom. So I'm going over the top of my silver layers of holly corner, and I'm just going to fit that down there. Okay, so I'm also going to, whilst I've got hold of it, I'm going to take my Happy Christmas and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue onto the back of here. And then finally, I'm just going to take my 3D sparkle accents and I'm just going to go over the berries. Now at this stage, if you don't have the sparkle accents, you can use some little red gems or silver if you want to. Anything you like really, but I just think, well, or just leave it, to be honest. I'm going to put my Happy Christmas down the bottom here. So I've got my Happy Christmas there, and then I'm just going to take my accents. Now when you're doing the accents, if you open your pot for the very first time, you do need to just get it going, okay? And it is the funniest stuff, because when it comes out, it looks like this, which is pink, yeah? And it should be red. But when it dries with this fabulous sparkle. It doesn't take long, it takes about half an hour to dry. And all I'm going to do is go round, and I'm not squeezing the bottle at all. It's coming out on its own accord. I'm touching each of the little areas where there should be a berry. Oh, and a bubble. and I'm just letting it almost drip into those areas where there should be a hollyberry. I'm just going to bring that in close and hope that you can see without it looking too dazzly what I'm doing. So I'm not touching it, I'm not squeezing it, well, tiny bit. You get a practice. So practice on your piece of card that's not your card, if you see what I mean. And I'm only going onto the white part of where the berries are, but you could go onto the silver as well. Just moving the card as I go. Just pop these little berries on, and it just finishes the card off. It just gives that little bit of an extra something. Je ne sais quoi. Oh crikey, I'm going to get too international. That bit was for my international viewers. Mais je ne sais quoi. Now let's just check if I've got them all. I think I have, and if I have missed out any, it doesn't matter really. It just, as I say, gives that little bit. Now, when it dries, let me just show you. Coming back to my other card, although that looks pink, when it dries, you will find that you have got this fabulous sparkle effect. Let's see if I can you see that now? Just a little, like a little red berry. You can't see it sparkle as much as I can in the lights. You could, well, hopefully you can. You could, as I said, get little tiny gems, sticky gems, and that would work as well. But for today, we have our 3D sparkle accents. So this was these Cosmic Shimmer 3D sparkle accents, and the colour is Berry Sparkle, that one. And we have also used various Presscut nesting dies. Unfortunately, they aren't all in stock at the moment, so if you are still waiting for those, I'm hoping that you will be able to get them for Christmas, but maybe not in this 12 days of Christmas section. We've used the Holly corner, and we've cut that out in silver mirror card and also in white. And we've also used the Presscut Happy Christmas die, simply cut out a silver mirror card as well. So all of these are available over on the website. Now, as we go through our 12 days of Christmas, some items will be available from day 1 to day 12 without any problem. Other items are on a first come, first serve basis, because some of the items are items that have been around for quite some while, and although you may not have them in your stash now, there aren't very many left. So I've managed to grab a few, and they are there for you over on the 12 Days of Christmas, MaximumCrafts.com. So thank you for coming to my first day. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 11. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. And don't forget to tick the little bell to say that you want to be notified. And you'll be given a half-hour notice to say that we're coming up. But it'll be 11 o'clock for the next 12 days. So, happy Christmas, everybody. And thank you for joining me.